Barbarossa, Romania's oil, the Greek stain, and the price of Mussolini's ego. Part 1. Berlin, Winter 1940, Hitler and the Red Circle over London. Berlin, winter of 1940. In the heart of the freezing city, beneath the thick concrete layers of the Reich Chancellery bunker, Hitler stood silently before maps of Europe spread across the table. Europe had almost collapsed. Poland was crushed. Denmark and Norway were swallowed whole. France, the great power once considered the steel wall of the West, had fallen in just a few weeks. But on that map, there was still one red mark, a circle not yet erased. London, Britain. Hitler had failed in the Battle of Britain, but he never called it a defeat. In Hitler's mind, it was only a delay. He reassured himself, Britain will surrender when they no longer have any foothold in Europe. And then, in that cold bunker, Hitler whispered as if speaking to himself, "If I cannot break the British will with bombs, I will make them despair when this entire continent lies in my hands." From that moment, a mad idea began to take shape. A war that would change human history. Operation Barbarossa, the invasion of the Soviet Union. Part 2. The ambition of Barbarossa. Hitler wants to finish Europe. Hitler believed in one simple thing. If the Soviet Union were destroyed, Britain would lose its last hope. No one would save them. No one would support them, and then they would be forced to kneel and negotiate. But within the German High Command, the mood was very different. Experienced generals like Franz Halder and Walter von Brauchitsch began to worry. They understood clearly. Germany was opening too many fronts. Resources were being diverted to North Africa. The Balkans were not yet secure. A massive war in the East could be a suicidal gamble. But the problem was, no one dared to speak frankly to Hitler, because Hitler was no longer just a politician. He had become a man who believed he was chosen by destiny. Hitler once told Keitel, "I feel victory. I do not need to analyze it." After the string of victories in 1940, Hitler believed success came from his own genius instinct, not from the calculations of the army. And when a dictator begins to believe he is fate itself, then every warning becomes meaningless. But before Barbarossa, Hitler needed something vital, something more important than steel, more important than manpower: oil. Part 3. Romania, the gas station of the German Empire. Romania, 1940. Across the oil fields of Ploiești, drops of black gold rose from the earth. This was not just oil. This was blood, the lifeline of modern warfare. Panzer tanks could not move without oil. The Luftwaffe could not take off without oil. The entire Nazi war machine would dry up and die if Ploiești were lost. Hitler said plainly, if we lose Ploiești, we cannot continue the war. Romania at this time was also a shattered nation. They lost nearly half their territory in 1940 alone. The Soviet Union seized Bessarabia. Hungary took Transylvania. Bulgaria claimed Dobruja. The people were furious. The government panicked. King Carol II was forced to abdicate. General Ion Antonescu came to power and understood. Only Hitler could protect Romania from the Soviet Union. And Hitler understood as well. Romania was prey that could not be ignored. On October 12, 1940, German troops entered Romania, officially to protect the oil fields from the Allies. In reality, a strategic occupation without firing a single shot. In just a few days, Berlin controlled the refineries, railways, and air bases. Romania became a dependent ally. Ploiești became the gas station of Nazi Germany. Thousands of tons of oil flowed daily to Berlin, feeding the ambition of Barbarossa. But in the south, another ally was beginning to burn with jealousy: Benito Mussolini. Part 4. Mussolini, the ego of a Mediterranean emperor, 1940. Mussolini looked at Hitler like watching a storm. Germany conquered all of Europe, and Italy, no significant victories. On June 10, 1940, when France was already dying, Mussolini finally declared war, only to secure a seat at the table of victory. He once said a shameless line, "I need a few thousand dead so that I can sit at the table of the winners." But war does not favor the vain. In North Africa, Italian forces were crushed by Britain. In the Mediterranean, Italy's navy was completely contained. Mussolini was humiliated, especially when Hitler occupied Romania without warning Italy. Mussolini fumed, "Hitler always informs me after he has already acted." And he swore This time, I will show him that I can act without asking permission. And so a war began. Not for strategy, but for ego. The target, Greece. Part 5. The Invasion of Greece. Disaster born of arrogance. Greece, the gateway to the Eastern Mediterranean. A strategic piece of the Balkans. On October 28, 1940, Mussolini issued an ultimatum. Allow Italy to occupy strategic positions. Greek Prime Minister Metaxas answered with a single word, no. That same day, Italian troops crossed the border from Albania. Mussolini dreamed of a quick victory, but he did not understand he was stepping into the hell of mountains and snow. The Pindus terrain was brutal. Mud and rain, biting cold, Italian logistics were weak. Soldiers lacked proper equipment, and the Greeks fought like lions. They did not only defend, they counterattacked, driving the Italians back into Albania. By late 1940, Mussolini's campaign was shattered. The man who dreamed of reviving Rome was being beaten badly by a small nation. Galeazzo Ciano's diary recorded, the leader became furious. He could not believe the Greeks fought so fiercely. Mussolini fell from pride into humiliation. And the worst thing, he was forced to beg Hitler for help. Part 6. Hitler's Rage. Mussolini has ruined everything. Hitler saw the Balkans as the logistical corridor for Barbarossa. Mussolini's Greek adventure was like a stone thrown into the gears of Germany's war machine. Hitler angrily said, Mussolini has opened a meaningless front. We must clean up this chaos. But Hitler could not abandon him. If Britain gained Greece, Romania would fall within bombing range. Ploiești would be threatened. Germany's lifeline would be cut. Therefore, helping Mussolini was no longer an obligation. It was a necessity. In March 1941, Hitler decided to intervene. Germany would enter the Balkans, not only to save Italy, but to seize the entire peninsula. Part 7. Yugoslavia falls, disappearing from the map in 11 days. Yugoslavia initially signed the Axis Pact, but only 2 days later, a coup erupted. Hitler was furious beyond measure. He issued Directive Number 25, Yugoslavia must be destroyed. At dawn on April 6, 1941, Belgrade sank into flames. German bombs rained down like steel. Tanks advanced from every direction. Yugoslavia collapsed in only 11 days. A country vanished from the map, but the fire of guerrilla resistance began to smolder. Part 8. Germany conquers Greece. Blitzkrieg in the Balkans. April 1941. German forces poured into Greece. 3 spearheads like a river of steel, from Macedonia through Thessaloniki, across the Pindus Range, supporting Italian forces from Albania. Blitzkrieg tactics shattered Greek defenses. On April 9, Thessaloniki fell. On April 30, Athens collapsed. Greece was occupied, Italy was saved, but Mussolini was tamed. From the Mediterranean emperor, he became dependent on Hitler. Hitler did not hand all of Greece back to Italy. He divided the occupation zones. German troops controlled the vital areas. Italy was pushed into the role of a second-class ally. Mussolini understood. From this point, Italy was no longer a partner, but only a shadow. Conclusion. The Balkans open, Barbarossa delayed. The Balkan victory was a military success, but a strategic failure. Barbarossa was delayed. The Eastern summer came late, and the price of that delay would be paid in the snow of Moscow, in Stalingrad, in the collapse of the Third Reich. But that is another story. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you found it useful, don't forget to leave a comment and check out other videos on the channel to support us. Goodbye, and see you again in the next videos.